You know, when you start a new program, a new project, it's very important how you kick it off. It's the first years, the fostering years, this is the time which will make a lasting impact forever, like first love. And it is, we are so fortunate that during these fostering years, at the head of this program, we had Amalia. And I told several times to my successor and your predecessor, Professor Megidor, Menachem, I know that you did many good things for the university, but one of the best things that you did for the university was nominating Amalia to this job at this crucial time. And in her years of leadership, Amalia represented a very broad understanding of what academic excellence is all about. She demonstrated good organizational skills, and all that was blended with warm motherhood. So it's now my pleasure to invite Amalia.
Dear Mrs. and Mr. Hoffman, distinguished guests, Mr. David Lansky, Dr. Willie Cox, Professor Menachem Ben-Sasson, Professor Hanoch Gutfreund, Professor Udi Deshalit, Professor Avner Deshalit, Professor Roy Ber, dear Hoffmans, fellows, family members, wonderful to have you all here. What an exciting evening it is for us. Well, within the past few years, the name Hoffman became a brand name. Menachem started talking about this, but we did not share those ideas in advance. It just came naturally for both of us to talk about this brand name that is very meaningful at the Hebrew University. This brand name is not used for sales or marketing purposes, as it is the case in the industrial world. At the Hebrew University, the name Hoffman is a sign of special qualities of the holders. Thanks to you, we established the Hoffman family at the Hebrew University, and this means that any member of this brand holds some special characteristics that justifies her or his inclusion within this family. And before I move on, I'd like to describe, before describing the qualities of this brand, a small personal story. Last year, after this wonderful ceremony, and to our regret, Mrs. and Mr. Hoffman were not here, I received a phone call from Mr. Hoffman to congratulate us, to tell us how much he enjoyed hearing about the event, and to ask me a simple, small question. Can I please, he said, also be a member of the Hoffman family? And I think my reply was rather rude, but it had to be this way. I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Hoffman, you cannot be a member, a simple member of this family. You are the father of this family. So here we are here, and what is this meaning of this brand? What do we mean by saying that we are Hoffmans here? First, as people said before me, the Hoffmans are leaders who take responsibility. But those are not just empty words, those are meaningful words. It amazes me how many people try to avoid responsibility in this world. While leadership is about making choices and being responsible, it's about having answers for who we are and what we do. Accepting responsibility as a leader requires that we accept that we are responsible for the choices we make involving ourselves and other people who work with us. Accept that we are responsible for what we do and how we do it. Accept that we are responsible for the goals, directions, and visions of our lives. Accept that we cannot blame others for the decisions we've made. accept that we're responsible for who we are and what impact we want to have in this world. Leaders, more than anyone, need to accept responsibility for what they see. As leaders can see how things can be different, how things can be better, and what are the possibilities. I believe that along with these visions or insights come responsibility. As Gandhi said, we have the responsibility to be the change we want to see in the world and to be the change we want to see in others. Well, one cannot feel proud about this program without acknowledging the importance of the efforts made by others. We want to thank Hanoch, now this is my time to take revenge, for being so close to the group, participating in so many meetings, helping us in whatever we ask, and we do ask a lot from Hanoch. And beyond all, for being such a great role model to all of us. The same words go to Avner, who was with me during the second year. Avner is right here. Can you stand up for those who don't know you for a second? Avner is now the Dean of the Social Science Faculty, and this was the only reason why he stepped down from taking part in this program. Udi Deshalit, who is with us in the past 2 years, and Roy Baer, who is joining us for next year. So thank you all for being wonderful members of this group. And one cannot say enough to thank our dearest Lital, who is with us. Working like the most industrious bee, making sure everything is in coordination, thought and cared of, without missing a wise vision of seeing the horizons of what we need to add to enhance quality of what we have here. Lital is a gift to the program, and I can't envision what we would have done without her here. Thank you so much, Lital, for everything. That's terrific. Finally, allow me just to cite a few statements said by our graduating cohort members. One said to me, I'm not specifying names, but everyone who said this knows who it is. She's in love with the Hoffman program and the Hoffman family. Another one told me last week that it was worth doing a PhD at the Hebrew University, even if just for being a part of the Hoffman family and taking part of the group's activities. Another fellow from the first cohort wrote to me, the Hoffman program has been instrumental in giving me the courage and means to pursue my dreams. Mrs. and Mr. Hoffman, this program was your vision, and these young scholars and leaders will keep on diffusing their intellectual and responsible wealth and will do good to others and to society at large. On behalf of the fellows, on behalf of the Hebrew University, we thank you for making it happen.
Bravo, Amali. So as you already heard, in spite of all the superlatives with which I endowed Amalia in my introductory remarks, she is not a superwoman, and she cannot do it alone. And she is always assisted by somebody, and she told you already that the first 2 years we had Professor Avner Dashalit. When Avner was elected Dean of Social Sciences, he had to leave, but when he left, he gave us his brother. So we were now fortunate to have for the last 2 years Professor Udi Dashalit with us, and now his academic plans inhibit the continuation of his service to the program, so we let him graduate. And you see, for you to graduate, you have to be with us 3 years. But Udi is already a professor, so he graduates in 2 years. But we are not letting Udi go, before we are sure that we have an appropriate substitute. And this is the time to welcome Professor Roy Baer, who is here, a novice, whom we recruited to this job, and I wish you the same joy, satisfaction, and success that your predecessor had. And it is now my pleasure, to invite Udi.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Hoffman, President Menachem Ben Sasson, former President Hanoch Gutfreund, David, Wally, Amalia, Hoffman Fellows. I've been a very privileged person. Over the last 2 years, every second Sunday and sometimes in between, I had the good fortune of meeting the most amazing young people that one can aspire to meet. Smart, eloquent, energetic, knowledgeable, creative, but above all, caring and hopelessly optimistic. Here in Israel, we live in a troubled and antagonized society. We live in a young state still struggling to shape its identity, to combine the great heritage of the Jewish people with the universal values of the internet age. A state which has not yet agreed on its boundaries, geographical as well as moral, where Jews and Arabs, Orthodox and secular, rich and poor, have to cope with ever-growing gaps and schisms. It is very easy to withdraw in such a society into constant criticism and adopt a cynical attitude towards the wrongdoings around us. It is especially easy to do so when you are in academia. You bear no responsibility. You are often better equipped to pass judgment than the people who do share the responsibility. And in general, let's admit it, you're smarter. Every one of you, the Hoffman Fellows, is a counterexample. You have chosen to take the difficult path that traverses the landscape below the ivory tower. Each of you in her or his own way, whether by helping a handicapped child or by lobbying in the Knesset, by instructing science teachers or by providing legal assistance to abused women, have proved that excellence in academic research can go hand in hand with social responsibility and leadership. The goal of the Hoffman Leadership and Responsibility Program, as I understand it, is to bring you together to discuss the difficulties and dilemmas in conducting this very challenging dual career at a stage in your life when you're also facing such mundane issues as raising a family, job hunting, or apartment hunting. I hope that the workshops, the speakers you have invited, and the sessions that followed, and in particular getting to know each other and sharing your experience, have all contributed to your development. But all this could not have happened without the vision and generosity of Mr. and Mrs. Hoffman. It was their initiative, and it continues to be their project, their baby. There are no words that can express our gratitude. Thank you, Sylvia and Harry. I would also like to thank Hanoch Gutfreund for recruiting me to this wonderful family, and Amalia and Lital for navigating the program with such wisdom and craftsmanship. Finally, to the graduating fellows and to Louis Bell, who will replace me next year, I wish the best luck, and may the coming year be as fruitful and inspiring as the past years have been. Thank you very much.